to $1,827 per month starting in January. Now, most people think of Social Security as a program for older Americans, and it's true that most of the roughly 70 million recipients in the program are 62 or older. But this program also helps millions of disabled workers, children, widows, and widowers. In fact, there are 9 million disabled workers on it, another 6 million children, widows, and widowers. So this means that a broad range of Americans will actually be helped by this cost of living adjustment starting in January.
So checks will be arriving this holiday season. The lawmakers are planning to send down more inflation checks, and there is a relief check proposal that would give more help to those in need. So, stimulus checks have had a profound impact on millions of people's lives, and they may continue to affect the size of your bank during the end of this year, and even into 2023, folks. So, each state has different guidelines in its inflation checks. Some states are offering tax rebates, others are sending out direct checks that range from $50 to even $1,000. Now, states were given $195 billion, everybody. $195 billion to give their citizens a stimulus check as well. Some states are offering tax rebates while others are giving you $50 checks and even $1,000 stimulus payments. States were given this money to help the people in need. Some states like Colorado, Maryland, and New Mexico are giving checks to people who make less than a certain amount of money or who are on unemployment. Other states like Florida, Georgia, and Michigan and Texas are putting the money toward $1,000 bonuses for teachers. Two main state senators are opposing to change the governor's Emergency Energy Assistance Bill to benefit those who need it the most. Senator Rick Bennett and Senator Nicole told reporters that they've been working together on this bill to help the low income. And Bennett, a former Senate president who was one of the 8 to vote against the bill, said he feels strongly that the public should have a chance to weigh in before the legislature spends close to $500 million. The original bill called for $450 checks to be sent to 92% of Maine adults and set income limits at $100,000 and $200,000 for couples. That program is projected to cost nearly $400 million. So Bennett and Grohowski are proposing to send checks of varying amounts to 41% of Maine adults based on your income limit. That's up to $60,000, and the system would make payments as high as $800 for couples making $20,000 or less a year. $400 to couples that are making between $40,000 and $60,000 a year. The cost of the program would be around $200 million. So Bennett and people are proposing to keep other parts of the bill still in the stimulus program, including $40 million in supplemental funding for the low-income heating assistance program and $20 million to support emergency housing and shelters. They're proposing to increase from $10 million to $15 million emergency heating assistance funds. Janet Yellen is even striking a cautiously optimistic tone about 2023, predicting a major inflation cooldown and stressing that a recession isn't required to get prices back under control. During an interview, Janet Yellen said, "I believe by the end of next year, you will see much lower inflation if there's not an anticipated shock." Yellen cited plunging gas prices and said on Monday that the national average is down by 52 cents a gallon. In the past month, that's a lot. The Federal Reserve is widely expected to deliver a 7th straight interest rate hike on Wednesday, though investors are betting the central bank will slow the pace of rate increases from 3/4 to a 0.5 percentage point. We don't know the Fed's aggressive rate hikes have been driving up borrowing costs, credit card rates at a record high, and even raising fears of a recession. Like other administration officials, Yellen argued the economy is in the middle of a healthy transition, from blockbuster growth to something more sustainable. Yellen said we had a very rapid recovery from the crisis, and economic growth was very high. But folks, do you agree with that? And do you think it's real what Janet Yellen is saying? Or do you think she's putting on a fluff? Well, I think that President Biden must do more for the people. That's for sure, and send out stimulus payments because people need it the most. Are people in need? And that means people that are low income, people on Social Security, they need stimulus checks greater than ever. So the IRS also started sending out letters to approximately 9 million households. They may have missed out on several crisis-related funds, and which may include a third round of stimulus payments. It delivered $1,400 to individuals, $2,800 to couples, and an additional $1,400 for each dependent. The tax agency is now contacting taxpayers who are required to file an annual federal income tax return, usually because they don't even earn enough income to tax. Domestic and global economies spiraling and could inflict deep pain. Republicans are seeking to use the situation as leverage to stop Biden's domestic program. The president, as he moves toward making his re-election campaign official as early as this week, says the GOP must not hold the nation hostage to what he says is an extreme agenda. The debt ceiling showdown is important to Biden as he seeks to protect the legislative achievements of his term so far. and to portray an image of strength and purpose. McCarthy is seeking to unite his party around him to pass a bill that will raise the debt ceiling for a year in exchange for deep spending cuts. The measure would limit growth in government spending to 1% a year, block student loan forgiveness, resigned new funding for the IRS, and introduce tougher work requirements for Medicaid. Even if it makes it out of the House, there's no chance this will pass. The approach is meant to make it look like the public and Biden is being obstructive and should hold the blame for any debt default. The White House has said it won't negotiate over a debt ceiling increase, which is Congress's responsibility, and will only accept a clean proposal to raise the nation's borrowing limit. But the Speaker on Sunday was adamant that Biden will have to climb down from the position as the country races closer to a crisis that could peak during the summer. Even recently, the Republican Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri introduced the Keep Our Promises Act to exempt Social Security and Medicare from the debt ceiling. Social Security and Medicare beneficiaries must be confident that their benefits will be paid in full and on time. Senator Hawley's legislation will ensure these programs are never used as leverage in negotiations over the debt limit. Senator Hawley has said in an official statement, Social Security and Medicare are not bargaining chips. These are promises we made to the people here. But the key legislation they hope to pass through the Build Back Better bill has fallen apart, and Joe Manchin is the one to blame. He is opposed to renewing the payments without additional work requirements, and it's all on Joe Manchin now. Democrats and advocates are hoping to get one more go at renewing the enhanced child tax credit this year. Adam Rubin, a campaign director at an advocacy organization that promotes extending economic power to all Americans, told reporters, "I feel better about it than I have at any point in 2022. A number of signs are pointing to new momentum. President Biden called the enhanced child tax credit one of the most effective programs we've ever seen at a recent White House conference, and Joe Biden also said, "That's why my national strategy calls on Congress to expand the child credit permanently. We'll get it done more this time." And recently released census data shows that credit expansion has helped reduce child poverty by more than 40%. That prompted Democratic lawmakers like Michael Bennet of Colorado, Sherrod Brown of Ohio, and Cory Booker of New Jersey to call for extending the enhanced credit before the year ends. The post-election period, everybody, could be a key opportunity for revisiting the proposal. It's a more optimism time compared to last year, as lawmakers are at a year-end tax deal to revisit corporate tax cuts put in place in 2017. Advocates hope an enhanced child tax credit can be included in that package. And Brown said in a recent interview, no more tax breaks for big corporations and the wealthy unless the child tax credit is with it. According to Elaine Magg, an expert at the Urban Bookings Tax Policy Center, there were the few key features behind the success of the 2021 credit, in addition to the higher credit amounts than monthly payments. And now, the credit was made fully refundable. That made it possible for low-income households to access the full credit. Plus, don't forget about this, everybody. Experts say that when lawmakers negotiate on new terms, an enhanced child tax credit may not be as generous as the 2021 crisis-era relief. Now, child poverty is poised to increase relative to last year. Economists have said that